Sam Worthington, who played Avatar, talked about his close call with 007. The Australian actor was one of the finalists for the role of James Bond, which went to Daniel Craig in Casino Royale, 2006. He was also offered the part of Green Lantern, which finally went to Ryan Reynolds and made him infamous for being funny. In a recent interview with Variety, Worthington talked about how he tried out for the parts. Avatar 2's Sam Worthington recalls failed James Bond audition. Sam Worthington says that before he was in Avatar in 2009, he tried out for the part of James Bond but didn't get it. In the last 60 years, many actors have played the famous spy, including Sean Connery, Roger Moore, George Lazenby, Timothy Dalton, and Pierce Brosnan. Daniel Craig gave the character a new spin in Casino Royale, which came out in 2006. At the time, Clive Owen, Rupert Friend, Doug Ray Scott, and Henry Cavill, among others, were said to be in the running for the part. Fans still often imagine Henry Cavill in the role. Now, in a recent interview with Variety, just before James Cameron's sequel Avatar: The Way of Water came out all over the world, Worthington talked about how he tried out for the role of James Bond. The actor remembers missing a key part of the character, but he praises producers Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson for their dedication to making the 007 series as good as it can be. Worthington's full comment was, "I could play Bond as a killer, but I couldn't for the life of me be debonair. The suit was too small. I didn't know what to do. Broccoli and Wilson have a lot of detail and care. They are very protective of this series, and I love it a lot. I learned that you should pay attention to what these people say. It's the same with James Cameron, who made Avatar. He has done all the research, so there's nothing you can ask him about which he won't know the answer." Why it's good Sam Worthington wasn't cast as James Bond. Worthington didn't get the part of James Bond, but because his audition didn't go well, he was able to be in Avatar, which became the highest-grossing movie of all time. This also means he will be in the upcoming sequel, which has already gotten great reviews and has been said to be even better than the first movie. Also, Cameron has plans for Avatar 3, 4, and 5 if the latest sequel does well, so Worthington missing out on Bond may have been one of the best things that could have happened to his career. Not only did it help Worthington, but audiences also got to see Craig's version of Bond, which is widely thought to be one of the best since Connery played the role. In Casino Royale, Daniel Craig played 007 as more ruthless and cold, but in later movies, he goes back to his more debonair roots. Craig is able to capture both of these sides of the spy very well. Then, in 2012, Skyfall by Sam Mendes came out. It quickly became not only one of Craig's best Bond movies, but also one of the best movies in the whole series. If Worthington had been in Casino Royale instead, it's likely that the franchise would have gone in a very different direction, and Skyfall wouldn't have been made the way it is now. Who will play James Bond next? Craig said goodbye to the role for good in No Time to Die, and Worthington is likely to be busy for the next few years with more Avatar sequels. So, it's not clear who will play the British spy next. Fans of 007 have voted for actors like Cavill, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Tom Hardy, Idris Elba, and Richard Madden, but no official decision has been made yet. With the news that James Bond 26, which doesn't have a title yet, will be a completely new story, fans are likely to be surprised when the new name is revealed. Sam Worthington remembers his Green Lantern audition experience. Before he starred in Terminator and Avatar, Worthington was one of several young actors that longtime James Bond producers Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson looked at to replace Pierce Brosnan as 007 in the 2006 film Casino Royale. He says that he could only play Bond as a killer and that he couldn't pull off the debonair part of the role, but it sounds like his audition for the Green Lantern role was a lot more awkward. During a meeting with director Martin Campbell, he questioned the science behind Hal Jordan's powers. "This is probably not the best thing to do if you want to play the lead role in a superhero movie. I didn't understand it very well. The suit comes out of his skin?" remembered Worthington. "Then I thought, wow, he has this powerful ring that can make anything. What could be better than the ring? Nothing was the answer, I thought. Well, there has to be something better, or it won't be very interesting." No one in the room could have told Worthington that the Green Lantern Corps was weak against the color yellow. Even so, they tried to explain how the character's powers worked in other ways, like bringing a copy of Hal's power ring to the meeting. "They put the ring on the table and told me to put it on," Worthington said. "But I'm thinking, that can't be real, can it? It was really weird." Worthington's comments are funny because both of these franchises are about to get new starts. Broccoli and Wilson are looking for a new Bond since Daniel Craig stepped down from the role in No Time to Die last year. In the same way, Warner Brothers almost certainly has a vehicle for Green Lantern in their plans for the future of DC. But based on his latest comments, fans shouldn't expect Worthington to make the shortlist for either project. In the meantime, his role as Jake Sully is back in Avatar: The Way of Water, which is now in theaters everywhere. Moving on, let's talk about some of his best films, starting with The Debt and Avatar. Sam Worthington plays a young version of the fictional Mossad agent David Peretz in the 2010 movie The Debt. In the 1960s, Peretz was part of a team sent on a mission to catch a well-known Nazi war criminal. The movie is built around what happens to the team 32 years later, when the lies they told on that mission come back to haunt them. What seems like a simple spy spy movie at first, turns out to be about the psychological costs of the mission and the lie that comes from it, as well as how the rest of the team must fix things. Worthington's young David is the reason why the lie has to be told. He is a violent character who flows right into the 1997 version of David and is the story's driving force. Jake Sully in Avatar is Sam Worthington's most famous role, and it's also one of the most praised movies he's been in. A human soldier is given the job of piloting a fake alien body to infiltrate the native Na'vi tribe. As he falls in love with one of the aliens, he starts to lose interest in the mission. Sure, it's easy to think of Avatar as just a sci-fi version of Dances with Wolves, and it's not clear if the franchise will be able to keep going after the MCU. But the movie's effects were very innovative for their time, and the chemistry between Worthington and Zoe Saldana was good enough to make up for some of the weaker parts of the story. Next, Somersault and Hacksaw Ridge. Worthington also had a big part in Somersault, an Australian romance movie from 2004 that was directed by Kate Shortland, who also directed Black Widow. Worthington plays Joe, the son of a local farmer, whom the main character, also a teenager, befriends. They become close, but Joe has trouble understanding not only how he feels about her, but also how he is as a gay person. Even though Joe isn't the main character, Worthington plays one of his most complicated roles ever with this role. Joe's struggles with his sexuality and masculinity make him a likable, relatable, and three-dimensional character. It has some similarities to Brokeback Mountain if it were told from the point of view of one of the wives, but it is definitely its own movie. Even though it's only Andrew Garfield's second best movie of 2016, Hacksaw Ridge was one of the most praised movies of 2016 and may have been the most realistic World War II movie since Saving Private Ryan, which came out 20 years earlier. Worthington plays Captain Glover, a man who at first tries to get Doss, played by Garfield, kicked out of the army because he seems like a coward. However, as the movie goes on, Glover comes to see Doss as an important part of the team. Glover's hostility is a good stand-in for the audience, so it can be used to test Doss and show that his conscientious objection is real. Finally, Paper Planes and Rogue. Paper Planes is a great Australian independent movie on Amazon Prime from 2015. It's about a young boy named Dylan who discovers he's good at making paper airplanes and thinks he can get good enough to compete in a national championship. Dylan's father, Jack, is played by Sam Worthington. He is very supportive of his son's dreams and lets him use old family items to help him design the paper planes. He also shows him how to get design ideas from nature. It's a good performance that goes against what people usually think of Worthington, but it works out really well. Julian Dennison is also known for his role as Kevin, Dylan's best friend in Deadpool 2. Worthington's most praised role, however, is as a local man named Neil in the independent horror film Rogue, which came out in 2007. The plot and atmosphere feel like they came straight out of Jurassic Park. The big bad is a 25-foot crocodile that wants to eat people. Rogue is a creature movie at its core, like Jurassic Park, Jaws, and even Anaconda. The focus isn't on how deep the characters are, but each actor brings what the role needs. If you like movies like that, Rogue will be right up your alley. Do you think Sam would have been a better fit for both movies? Comment below. Unfortunately, guys, that is all the time we had for today. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Till next time, cheers.